Western Spring Television. Ours it is.
Here are the top stories of the news. Independent National Electoral Commission says quest for inclusive election is not complete until provisions are made for diaspora voting. President Muhammadu Buhari says his administration spent over $1 billion to recover territories held by Boko Haram. On the foreign scene, Ukraine's Interior Affairs Minister and 15 other persons killed in a helicopter crash in an eastern suburb of Kiev. Good afternoon and welcome to Spring News at 12 on Western Spring Television. My name is Damilola Raphael. Chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Mahmoud Yakubu, says Nigeria's quest for inclusive election is not complete until there are provisions for diaspora voting. Speaking at Chatham House in the United Kingdom, Professor Yakubu said there is a need to look into the necessary framework to ensure that persons in the diaspora can participate in Nigeria's elections. He, however, said the Commission only acts in accordance with the electoral legal framework, which remains the main reason why INEC cannot implement diaspora voting for now. Professor Yakubu said INEC hopes the legal obstacles will be cleared at some point to enable Nigerians in the diaspora to vote in elections.
Our Commission remains fully committed to making Nigerian elections inclusive. Inclusive elections constitute an essential part of democracy, and that's the reason why in our Commission we regularly speak of our commitment to free, fair, credible, transparent, verifiable, and inclusive elections. And over the years, we have worked with various stakeholders to increase the participation of young people and women.
Presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, APC, Bola Tinubu, has urged Nigerians to get their permanent voter cards and vote for the APC in the upcoming general elections in February. Senator Tinubu made the plea yesterday in Kwara State at the APC presidential campaign rally held in the Metropolitan Square in Ilorin. He assured Nigerians of renewed hope and a better Nigeria he voted for in the upcoming 2023 general elections. According to him, the party slogan, Renewed Hope, is for Nigerians to believe and to keep their hope alive for better days.
Your freedom 4 years ago.
In the meantime, presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Atiku Abubakar, says if elected, his administration will meet every demand of the residents in Ekiti State. Mr. Abubakar spoke while addressing residents of Ekiti at the presidential rally of the party in Ado-Ekiti, the state capital. The former vice president said he nearly shed tears of joy when he saw the crowd at the rally. Mr. Abubakar added that women and youths in Ekiti will benefit from the fund he has planned to set aside to tackle unemployment. Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike has hinted that talks with his political allies in the G5 on the preferred presidential candidates to support in the February 25 election will soon be concluded. Governor Wike gave the hint yesterday during the rally of the State People's Democratic Party in Ikwere local government area. The governor maintained that the people of the state knows their political bearings and will not play second fiddle concerning the general elections. He told party supporters at the event that they should vote for the PDP from governorship to House of Assembly, stating that concerning the other one, talks are still ongoing, but they will soon be concluded. Here in Osun State, Governor Ademola Adeleke has declared that the mandate freely given to him by the people of the state remains valid and nothing can upturn or tamper with it. Speaking at the campaign rally of Osun Central Senatorial District, the governor said he would not allow anybody to go through the back doors to hijack the will of Osun people. The governor encouraged Osun residents not to entertain any fear, adding that his government has many good things in stock for the state. It will be recalled that the Governorship Election Petition Tribunal in Osun State had adjourned for judgment after counsel to the parties adopted their final addresses.
Wọ́n wá gbé yìí káàkiri, wọ́n lọ rí àwọn judges, wọ́n lọ káàkiri, ẹ̀yin Ọ̀ṣun people have spoken, kò lè fi tó lè gbà á. The president has congratulated me, the speaker has congratulated me, so wọ́n bá lọ, wọ́n bá sáré, wọ́n bá ṣe kiri, wọ́n bá lọ ẹnìyà, Ọlọ́run ti sọ̀rọ̀. Ọlọ́run ti dá Ọ̀ṣun sẹ́yìn padà.
Meanwhile, the Osun State chapter of the All Progressives Congress, APC, has cautioned Governor Ademola Adeleke to stop blaming his predecessor, Adegboyega Oyetola, for what it described as his misfortune. The party also said that contrary to the PDP's claim, it was Governor Adeleke and his siblings who reached out to a retired judge from Kwara State over the tribunal matter, but which did not yield any positive result, insisting their allegation against Mr. Oyetola was born out of frustration. The state acting state chairman of the APC, so-called Tajuddin Lawal, said there was no basis for Governor Adeleke and the PDP to whip up sentiment because there is no hiding place for them. He added that it was unthinkable and misplaced for the Osun governor to be holding Mr. Oyetola responsible for his challenges. President Muhammadu Buhari says his administration spent over $1 billion on equipment needed to recover territories held by Boko Haram terrorists. President Buhari made this known at Nouakchott, Mauritania yesterday while meeting with the United States Ambassador at Large for International Religious Freedom, Rashad Hussain. He stated that Nigeria continues to engage bilaterally and multilaterally to comprehensively win the war against the insurgency and other terror groups. President Buhari also accused some Nigerians of using religious misunderstanding to achieve their political and economic agenda. He said that majority of the people just want to practice their religion without problem, but some people cash in on religious misunderstanding for their own ends. In Ekiti State, Catholic priest, Reverend Father Michael Olofinlade, who was abducted by unknown gunmen on Saturday, has regained his freedom. Father Olofinlade of St. George Catholic Church, Omu-Ekiti, was released by his captors late last night, though details of his release are still sketchy. Father Olofinlade was kidnapped while returning to his base in Omu-Ekiti after a pastoral assignment in Ado, the Ekiti State capital. The Bishop of the Catholic Diocese of Ekiti, Most Reverend Felix Ajakaye, has solicited prayers for the quick and safe release of Father Olofinlade. The Nigeria Customs Service has said it intercepted hard drugs and military and police hardware at the cargo section of the Murtala Muhammad Airport. The Customs Area Controller, Sambo Dangaladima, addressing newsmen at the command in Ikeja, Lagos, said 162 cartons of 225 and 250 milligrams of banned tramadol hydrochloride, military and police hardware were intercepted at the Skyway Aviation Handling Company. He explained that the drugs, with an estimated duty-paid value of 13.8 billion naira, originated from India and Pakistan and were routed through Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. He noted that the command would hand over the seized drugs to the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency. You are watching Spring News at 12 on Western Spring Television. We will be right back after this break.
According to the words of Michael Forbes, one who never asks questions either knows everything and nothing. Watch me as I ask the questions you think no one wants to answer. Even questions it appears no one has got the guts to ask. My name is Femi Adefula and I've got the gut. Let's ask the pertinent questions and watch as we get answers.
Turn it up! It's the Wild Wild West, and Western Spring Television is pulling out all the stops to make sure that you don't miss out on every of the fun and happenings around you. Yup, we've got you covered because your girls got all the juiciest tidbits and entertainment news from around the world. Cross over to the chocolatey side of entertainment. Join me, Chocolate Cassie, on Eccentric as we take you into every bit of the juiciest news, fashion, music, movie updates, and other trending conversations. Together on the show, we'll get personal with your favorite celebrities via phone call, Zoom, or even live here in the studio. Eccentric will be showing on your TV screen on Western Spring Television, channel 190, only on Star Times.
Stressing that there is no cause for alarm on the governor's state of health. Mr. Olatunde further disclosed that Governor Akeredolu would continue to discharge his official duties to the good people of the state while he finds quality time to rest. The federal government has presented certificates of registration to the Congress of University Academics, CONUA, and the National Association of Medical and Dental Academics, NAMDA, to break away labor unions from the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU. The Minister of Labor and Employment, Chris Ngige, speaking at the official presentation of certificates to the two unions in Abuja, warned the unions against incessant industrial action. Mr. Ngige maintained that the federal government will continue to enforce the no work, no pay policy on any union that embarks on industrial action, urging them to embrace dialogue whenever they have a misunderstanding with their employers. The minister further urged the new unions to operate within the provisions of the labor law. The two unions came into the limelight in October 2022 in the heat of an 8-month strike by ASU. In business, the Nigeria Governors Forum has issued an invitation to the Central Bank of Nigeria Governor Godwin Emefiele for a virtual meeting on the recent Naira redesign and cash withdrawal limit policies. Director General of NGF, Asishana Okaoro, said the meeting is scheduled to hold tomorrow. The theme, the economic and security implications of Naira redesign and withdrawal policy, will drive discussions at the virtual meeting. Mr. Okaoro said the invitation to the CBN governor was issued by Chairman of the Forum and Governor of Sokoto State, Aminu Tambuwal. He said the meeting would foster participation and dialogue between various stakeholders, including governments and civil society organizations, and enable them to proffer solutions to the lingering issues regarding the policies. The rate of inflation in the United Kingdom eased to 10.5% in December, down from 10.7% in November. The Office for National Statistics said Phil led to the decline in the Core Consumer Prices Index, which measures inflation. Today's announcement is the latest signal that the UK might have seen the worst of inflation. The number is down from a 41-year high of 11.1% recorded in October. On the foreign scene, 16 people have been killed, including Ukraine's Interior Affairs Minister, after a helicopter crashed beside a kindergarten in an eastern suburb of the capital, Kyiv. 2 children were amongst the dead, and 10 more are being treated in hospital. The minister, Denis Monastirski, said was with 8 others in the helicopter. Officials said his first deputy minister and the state secretary also died when the helicopter came down in the suburb of Bovary. National Police Chief Ihor Klimenko wrote on Facebook that the helicopter belonged to Ukraine's State Emergency Service. After the crash, a fire broke out close to the kindergarten and children and staff were moved from the building. Wreckage from the helicopter was visible outside a burning building. Mr. Klimenko said 22 people have been taken to hospital, including the 10 children. British Foreign Secretary James Cleverly says Ukraine's allies must step up their military support to Kyiv to help it break a frontline entrenchment and avoid a devastating, protracted World War I-style battle of attrition. The British Foreign Secretary made the remarks at a joint news conference with U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken in Washington. It came ahead of a meeting this week of senior defense officials from dozens of countries at the U.S. Ramstein Air Base in Germany to coordinate military aid to Kyiv. On his part, Mr. Blinken said the fastest way to get to diplomacy is to give Ukraine a strong hand on the battlefield. Since Russia's invasion of Ukraine began on February 24th, the United States and its allies have provided Kyiv with tens of billions of dollars worth of weaponry, including missile systems, drones, armored vehicles, and communication systems. However, Ukraine says it needs more help to defeat Russia on the battlefield.
And as Secretary Blinken said, the main subject of our talks today was Ukraine's current struggle against aggression in our time. From the onset of this crisis, Britain and America have worked hand in glove to help our Ukrainian friends defend their homeland against Putin's aggression. Ukraine's heroic armed forces have liberated thousands of square miles, and I have no doubt they can win in their battle for freedom. As you will have seen, Britain has decided to accelerate our support, including the supply to Ukraine of main battle tanks, heavy artillery, and other military systems.
First, I think it's important to say that as this aggression has evolved, so too has our assistance to Ukraine, making sure that it has what it needs to meet the aggression head on. And as I said before, that started long before the Russian aggression. When we saw the storm clouds gathering in the months before the aggression, we initiated what we call drawdowns of our own military equipment to Ukraine to make sure that it had on hand what it would need if Russia went through with the aggression. So Stingers, Javelins, all of those were provided initially around Labor Day a year ago, and then again before Christmas.
In Asia, a Philippine court has acquitted journalist Maria Ressa and news outlet Rappler of tax evasion in a move hailed as a win for press freedom. Ms. Ressa, who, if convicted, could have been jailed up to 34 years, hailed the judgment. The Nobel laureate's legal victory marks the end of a case that began in 2018. Ms. Ressa, who founded Rappler, has been the target of legal action launched by the Philippine government. Under former leader Rodrigo Duterte, the Philippine government had accused Ms. Ressa and Rappler of evading tax payments when it raised capital through its partnership with foreign investors. Ms. Ressa and Rappler denies the charges and said the transactions involved legitimate financial mechanisms that do not generate taxable income. In sport, Rafael Nadal's Australian Open title defense is over after his second-round defeat by American Mackenzie McDonald, in which he struggled with an injury. The 36-year-old Spaniard was trailing by a set and a break when he pulled up with what appeared to be a hip problem. He took a medical timeout towards the end of the second set and continued with the match, but ultimately slipped to a 6-4, 6-3, 7-5 defeat. It is Nadal's earliest exit at the Australian Open since 2016. Nadal's wife was left in tears, and his support team also looked emotional in the player box as the two-time champion struggles to move on Lord Lava Arena. Nadal, in his post-match press conference, said he gave his best until the end and congratulated McDonald on his victory.
I didn't want to retire to be defending champion here. I didn't want to leave the court with a retirement. Better like this at the end. I lost. Nothing to say. Congratulate the opponent. And that's the sport at the same time. Just try your best till the end. Doesn't matter the chances that you have. That's the philosophy of the sport. That's the essence of the sport by itself. So I tried to follow that during all my tennis career.
Talking football now, Serie A leaders Napoli are out of the Coppa Italia after a last-16 penalty shootout defeat to Cremonese. The visitors, bottom of Italy's top flight, took the lead through Charles Piquel. First half goals from Hugo Jesus and Giovanni Simeone turned the game on its head, but Felix Afena-Gyan leveled late on. Cremonese's Leonardo Senicola was sent off in extra time, but the visitors prevailed 5-4 in the shootout. Before we end the news, here is a recap of our top stories. Chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Mahmoud Yakubu, says Nigeria's quest for inclusive election is not complete until there are provisions for diaspora voting. President Muhammadu Buhari says his administration spent over $1 billion on equipment needed to recover territories held captive by Boko Haram. On the foreign scene, 16 people have been killed, including Ukraine's Interior Affairs Minister, after a helicopter crashed beside a kindergarten in an eastern suburb of the capital, Kyiv. You can follow us on our social media handles on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Western Spring Television. You can also watch us live on our YouTube channel at Western Spring Television. That ends Spring News at 12. I am Damilola Raphael. Thanks for watching. Good afternoon.